And we are here for the Queen Bee Radio Bracket Reveal 2026. I'm John Satterley with Tyler Dictanis. As we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, as I always say when I'm on the air, Tyler, if I'm around, there's going to be technical difficulties. You're the technical one, I'm the difficult one. So this is kind of par for the course. So thank you for joining us here on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. We are going to be joined by Iowa Grant, Lancaster. We are getting everything set up for this March to the Kohl Center WIAA bracket reveal. First time they've done something like this, and we're at Doolittle's in Lancaster to break everything down for you, talk to some reactions with Iowa Grant and Lancaster. And Tyler, as you are working diligently behind the scenes to make sure our broadcast is up and going. Division 5 has just been released. We were talking about that just a little bit. And Division 4 now being released. And everybody got it on here in the TVs here at Doolittle's in Lancaster.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's do a quick rundown of those Division 5 brackets as the Division 4 ones are set to be released right now. Sectional 3B, North Crawford, the number 1 seed, will host 16-seeded Weston. Number 9-seeded Ithaca will take on number 8-seeded Seneca. River Ridge, the 5 seed, will host Lafarge Youth Initiative in a rematch from last season. And number 4-seeded Belmont will host Highland. On the other side of the bracket, the 3-seed Southwestern hosts number 14-seed Riverdale. Number 6-seeded DeSoto hosts number 11-seeded Benton. Number 10-seeded Basketball travels to Potosi to take on Potosi Cassville. And the number 2 seed Kickapoo taking on number 15-seeded Wazeeka Steuben.
Taking a look at Division 5, Sectional 4A, the top seed, that is Abundant Life Christian. They will be hosting 16-seeded Monticello. Shullsburg, they get the 8 seed. They will be hosting Madison Country Day. In the same left side bracket, Johnson Creek, they're going to be hosting Judah. That's a 5-12 matchup. Number 4, Pecatonica, they are hosting Rio. Rio is the 13 seed. Take a look at the right side of the Sectional 4A, the 2 seed, the Barneveld Golden Eagles. They will be hosting Conference foe Blackhawk. They're the 15 seed. Argyle, the Orioles, are number 10 seed. They are on the road to take on Fall River, the Pirates. Number 6 seed, Randolph Rockets. They are going to be hosting the 11th seed, Albany Comets. That'll be the last time the Albany Comets will be on their own as they go to a co-op with Monticello. Then number 3 seed, St. Ambrose, they will be hosting Cambria Friesland, the number 14 seed. So Tyler, taking a look at any of those matchups, not really any big surprises, but I think Southwestern, they got a big jump with their win against Darlington.
Yeah, that was a huge win.
I think that personally, because of the record, I think that jumped them from being a 5 seed to being one of the top 4 seeds.
Yeah, and like you were mentioning before the stream went down on us, that Southwestern is one of those teams, plays in a much tougher conference, playing up, a division essentially with all the teams that they see in the Southwest Wisconsin Activities League, and that usually, sharpens them to be ready for a deep postseason run. Although you just have to hope that for Southwestern, how many different heartbreaking losses can Southwestern have during the postseason? Should be a pretty favorable path for them heading into the postseason. They have to like the roadmap that they have.
Absolutely, and you get the chance to see teams in the first round are going to be kind of avoiding each other. I don't want to say completely avoiding each other, but it's not the knockout round, you can say, like it's used to be, where everything was seeded when it comes to geography, trying to limit the gas mileage, the trip, I can understand that. But once again, you want to have the right matchups. You want to be able to have the right seating and not just doing it due to the element of travel.
Get the seedings right, and then also try to have it be a conference invitational tournament as much as you can. And in the upper left bracket of sectional 3B, with Kickapoo, Weston, Seneca, Ithaca, that does feel like it's a conference invitational up there, but when you look at how the seedings play out, that it does make a lot of sense the way that it is there. So it was avoided in most of the part of the bracket, but
you can't avoid it completely.
Right, you can't always do it.
No, absolutely. And I think you're also seeing the Six Rivers East, just my example, that they were getting a lot of credit with how strong the Six Rivers East has been this year, especially with the top tier, with Barneveld not just getting, they're getting a number 2 seed. They are hosting, but you also have Pecatonica getting a 4 seed, being the conference runner-up. So you're getting a lot of respect when it comes to the Six Rivers schools.
Yep, no doubt about it. The Division 4 3A bracket is set to come out in just a few moments. They're doing a feature on the bracket reveal show for the Marathon Red Raiders right now, and an outstanding season that they've had. But as we were talking a little bit for the Division 4 bracket, you have Darlington is obviously the top team that we're looking at there. I'm curious to see where a team like Parkview ends up, because they have 19 wins on the season as well. They are 19-5 overall. Their record against teams above 500, 5-5, compared to Darlington's, which is 12-3. So it is a significant gap as far as the type of talent that those two teams have faced. Parkview has beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat, the teams that are below 500. But when you kind of factor all that in, you have to imagine that Darlington, unquestionably the number one seed in that bracket.
Absolutely, and yes, this is water. Just to let you know,
yes,
we are at Doolittle's in Lancaster. Thank you to Doolittle's for hosting our Queen Bee Radio bracket reveal party. Why not call it a party? Because we are
a party.
We are celebrating the success of our local teams, as we're seeing now Division 4 Sectional 3A being released. Darlington's a 1 seed. Number 2 seed, Cambridge. Number 3 seed, Parkview. And in-house, the Iowa Grand Panthers get a number 4 seed.
That is awesome.
So the Iowa Grand Panthers, they are, as you can hear them clapping, they are able to get a nice high seed. They'll be able to, again, we'll take a look at the bracket. Let's break it down. I just went through the top 4.
Yep. Darlington is the 1. They will take on the winner of Broadhead and Belleville in an 8-9 matchup. Ooh. Cuba City is a 5 seed hosting 12-seeded Prairie du Chien. The winner of that game heads to Iowa Grant. Very intriguing potential matchups there. As you said, Parkview gets the 3 seed, and they will take on either Deerfield or Wisconsin Heights. Deerfield the 6 seed, Wisconsin Heights the 11. And the 2 seed is Cambridge. They will take on the winner of number 7 seeded Fenimore and 10 seeded the Lincoln Academy.
Let's get some reaction here from Iowa Grant, as they are here in-house at Doolittle's. So let's get their reaction for Division 4. But one thing, Tyler, before we get them in here, was Cuba City. Again, look at their record. You can, I don't want to say throw it out, but the respect given to this Wall Conference.
Yep, on this side.
Yep. So I guess we get all cozy here.
Yep.
I like hanging out with you.
Yep, and we are joined by Sean Daly, the head coach of the Iowa Grand Panthers. Coach, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. Thanks for coming out to our watch party here at Doolittle's Pub and Eatery. And Coach, your initial reaction to getting the 4 seed, that has to be quite the accomplishment for this Iowa Grand Panthers team.
Yeah, without a doubt. Going into the season, that was one of our goals, was trying to get that first round bye and then being able to host the second round game. So we're pretty tickled that we achieved that part of it. So when they came out with the mid-season terms or whatever, we're still right where we are at. So it's no surprise staying at the 4 seed.
Yep. Is this kind of the best case scenario that you were hoping for?
We actually were hoping to bump up to that 3, to be honest with you, because if you can get that 3 seed, you can avoid Darlington.
Right, exactly.
And you might know Darlington.
Yeah. And so it would have been nice. We love playing teams outside the SWAL. Let's face it, SWAL's the best Division 4 conference in the state, and we feel like if we can play teams outside the SWAL, it really benefits us. And I would have liked our chances to meet Darlington, say, at a sectional semifinals,
neutral,
than a regional finals game at Darlington.
But one thing we always know too, the hardest thing to do is to beat a team 3 times in one season, and you've seen that multiple times, whether you've watched your children play or whether you've been coaching now. And plus Darlington showed that they are vulnerable a little bit after losing to Southwestern. So again, a lot of things, you're playing your best basketball going in to the March to the Cole Center. And what's your thoughts? Again, you can't overlook any opponent because everybody's truly a clean slate.
Right.
We're truly now at 0-0.
I totally agree with that about beating a team a third time. We showed some good stuff against Darlington. We went down there the first time, and I believe halftime it was 25-21. So we showed that we can compete with them. And then the second time against them, they came out on fire, we could have rolled over and just got drilled, and we fought back to make it a 14-point game. So we showed some good things. But to your point, okay, we got Cuba, who's a 5 seed, and we're a 4 seed. We just beat Cuba last week.
Mhm.
We got to play them again this week,
Mhm.
and then when there has a chance to play them a
Right.
third time in 3 weeks. So, there's a lot going into it. You're wondering, okay, do we even show them anything the second time around?
Yeah.
Go complete vanilla, because you're probably going to be facing them, for a third time. So it works both ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, Sean, I don't think. When have you ever been vanilla?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
let's just call it spade a spade.
Yeah.
You're, you've been around this game a long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and you know what will work, what won't
Yeah.
work. How do you keep the guys focused?
Yeah.
Now that you know where the seating is, so you don't, lose an edge
Yeah.
because you say you don't want to try anything
Yeah.
new. You're debating on that,
Yeah.
keeping that edge, but knowing what is right around the corner.
Yeah, totally agree.
Dropped.
Cool.
And again, nothing to do
Yeah.
with here because it's up there too.
Oh,
So
I
it's
gotcha.
something, an outage here an outage in Lancaster. I got to pick on
All
you
right.
a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. How you been, John? It's been
Dude,
a while.
It's been
Yeah,
too long.
yeah.
It has been. Yeah, I know, but we're back on.
Okay.
I think. Ta-da! The magic of the internet. Well, one thing, you're familiar with Cuba City as well, with Braden playing there
Yep.
and knowing the respect that Cuba City gets with the name.
Yeah.
Do you think that this ranking? Again, I'm not trying to put you into a spot.
Mhm.
I'm honestly not trying to do that.
Mhm.
But the respect that the SWAL conference gets, compared to other conferences in Division 4, because knowing the level of competition that's here.
Oh, without a doubt. I couldn't agree more. What the SWAL does. You just look at how top heavy we are, and then the bottom teams in the conference, have beaten some of the top teams or played them really close. So that says a lot.
Mhm.
And going back to Cuba City, it's you're playing the name on the front of the jersey, but yet this is a very good team, and we have trouble matching up with them. They put out
Mhm.
5 shooters out on the floor. I mean, there's the Geyer kid, Guler, Vanetta, and my old neighbor there, Kieler. They're unbelievable shooters, and they're hard to defend. So let's face it, the 3-point shot's the great equalizer.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if we might have a bigger team or maybe better team, when they're shooting their threes, that team can flat out beat anybody.
Absolutely. We're being joined by Sean Daly, the head coach of the Iowa Grand Panthers, who just received a number 4 seed. And how do you like your team, your Panthers, coming into the playoffs? Health-wise, I know I've experienced seeing, some teams are dealing with some illnesses, but again, this time of year, so kind of knocking them down a bunch. But how you guys, health-wise, going into what's going to be the March to the Kohl Center starting 1 week. Well, actually, for you guys, it'll be a week from Friday, but the whole kit and caboodle starting next week.
We've been very fortunate. The sick bug hasn't hit our team. The injury bug hasn't hit our team like previous past, and like it has a lot of teams in our area. So on that aspect, we couldn't be any happier. And going in, we're a senior-laden team.
As we have Division 3 being broke out right now, I think we're gonna look at this. If we can take care of that. Lancaster gets a number 4 seed, and they will play Richland Center. So we'll definitely discuss that coming up. But wrapping things up with you, Sean, who has improved the most for you guys for Iowa Grant that you're looking to kind of shoulder the load going into this tournament run?
My senior group, I lean on them. I got 3 3-year starters on the team. They returned 3. I returned 3 honorable mention all conference players, and they're just great leaders out on the floor for me, like another coach. And that's who I'm going to roll with at the end of the day. And win or lose, it's going to, come down to those seniors.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time,
Thank you
Coach.
for
We
having
appreciate
me.
you
You bet.
coming out, and good luck to you guys during the postseason.
Thank you,
Sean.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Sean Daly, the head coach of the Iowa Grant Panthers, kind enough to join us from the
Thank
best
you.
seat in the house,
Awesome.
our Ayers Furniture broadcast booth here at Doolittle's Pub and Eatery on the Square in Lancaster. They got an awesome $5 burger special going on today as well. So
$5, $5, $5.
Yep. Yep. Come on down, check it out. It's awesome. And as John was alluding to, the Division 3 Sectional 3A bracket has come out, and Mineral Point gets the 1 seed. That's a great accomplishment for the Pointers. They will take on the winner of Westby and Dodgeville. Westby the 9 seed, Dodgeville the 8. New Glarus is a 5 seed hosting number 12 seeded Viroqua, and as you mentioned, Lancaster the 4 seed hosts conference rival Richland Center in the bottom half of that sectional 3A bracket.
I was saying one thing with this too, and we'll get to it. Lancaster getting the 4 seed. They don't get a bye on Tuesday because of the amount of teams, so they just missed out on that number 3 seed.
Yep, that's the whole situation with Mineral Point being bumped up a division, so that throws a wrench in how things shake out. So let's look at the other half of the bracket. Aquinas is the 2 seed. They will take on the winner of number 7 seeded Lodi and 10 seeded Wisconsin Dells. Platteville's a 6 seed, hosts River Valley, the 11 seed, and the winner will travel to number 3 seeded Mauston. So kind of taking a look at this bracket, again, I'm a bit surprised that Mineral Point does get the 1 seed. Aquinas has been consistently ranked one of the better teams, but we have also seen what happens when Mineral Point and Aquinas play each other, say at the Kohl Center, state semifinal where Aquinas was up by 8 and Mineral Point goes on this miraculous run to get the steal, and then they win the state championship. So yeah, that's a very intriguing part of the bracket. We're now joined by Lancaster head coach Brian Knapp. Coach, thanks for joining us and looking at
it's bar time.
The lights get brighter in the postseason, Coach, and looking at how things have shaken out, get the number 4 seed in this very competitive Division 3 Sectional 3A bracket. Talk about the seeding and what you make of the path in the postseason for you guys.
Well, a little shock for us. We were thinking maybe 5th or 6th, but we'll take the 4 seed on that. And first round opponent, a common opponent, Richland Center, and they're obviously playing some good basketball right now. So we'll have to play our best come that night.
Yeah, what are the things that kind of stood out to you the most about this bracket? I thought for us, kind of looking at it, Mineral Point getting the 1 seed, I thought was a bit surprising. I thought Aquinas was pretty much a lock for that. But with the way that the seeds played out, is it kind of the way that you anticipated it looking?
Not really. I think you're right. I was assuming that Aquinas would be the top seed and Mineral Point being 2. But, looking at it, and maybe that plays out in our favor moving down the road here. And play a common opponent as the number 1 seed, hopefully, in a regional championship would be a fun event.
So a question I have for you, Coach, getting the 4 seed, not getting that bye on Tuesday, do you think that will kind of help your team to be able to be a little more sharpened as you go into a regional semifinal on a Friday? Again, we're not overlooking your opponent. Trust me, I'm not trying to put the cart ahead of the horse here, but you have the top 3 seeds getting a bye, and you just missed out on getting that bye and having to play on Tuesday.
Well, we got a group of seniors that like to play basketball, so they'd much rather play than watch. So we'll take that as a fun atmosphere that night and be ready to play.
Health-wise, how have you guys been, coming in here to this home stretch and, momentum-wise too? I guess it'd be more health because, again, we've kind of seen some teams that have, I don't want to say been hurting lately, but their health, and I'm just talking illness more than injuries.
Yeah, we went through the middle of the season with some rough spots and lost a couple games in a row, but little adversity was good for these kids, and they being all seniors and knowing that they don't have a lot of their basketball season left, so they're gonna relish the opportunities they have remaining. And like I said, we'll take one game at a time, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that adversity a little bit, because in the 2025 part of the calendar, you guys looked the part very well. Finished that part undefeated, and then things kind of started hitting a bit of a lull in the 2026 part of the calendar. What things have you noticed differently, and how has your team been responding to that?
Well, we went through that stretch where we didn't play very good team basketball, either offensively or defensively, and we have some kids that can light it up offensively, so we're much more effective when we work together, play together as a team, both ends of the floor. And during that stretch, we weren't doing that as well. And like I said, that adversity, that needing to play together as a team has helped us the later half of the season. moving into the playoffs.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, conference opponent coming up too. How do you play this upcoming week out? Knowing what you're going to be seeing on Tuesday.
Well, Richmond Center, they did us a favor on Friday by beating Dodgeville and giving us at least a share of a conference championship, and that hasn't happened in 38 years. So the kids are pretty excited about that. So we're come Thursday, last conference game against River Valley. We want to win it outright. So that's our goal right now, and then we'll accomplish that goal Thursday and be ready for playoffs on Tuesday.
Yep, excellent. And talk about what that accomplishment means to this team. I mean, this has been a team that feels like it's been together for forever. I was curious about how much eligibility these boys have left, but yeah, these guys have been together. They've worked with each other over the last few years. Talk about what this conference championship accomplishment means, whether it's a shared or outright conference title.
Well, it means a lot to those kids and the program, but you have 2,000 point scorers on your squad, and you get down 8 deep seniors on your team. That 5th, 6th, 7th guy really matter, and they've really, our bench play has been really good, and that's usually bench play from our, we have a sophomore in that mix, but seniors coming in, they've realized how valuable they are when they come into the game being ready to go, ready to play. So having 8 seniors is a benefit moving into the playoffs, and they relish this opportunity, ready to play.
All right, well, Coach, thank you very much for joining us here. I know you got a lot to prep for, and congratulations to your Flying
Conference
Arrows.
championship first. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, awesome. All right,
thanks,
congrats,
guys.
Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. All right, that's head coach Brian Knapp of the Lancaster Flying Arrows joining us on our bracket reveal reaction show. And I think I kind of share the same sentiment with Coach that of all the brackets that we've seen today, that Division 3 Sectional 3A bracket with Lancaster in there, kind of stunning how it all laid out, especially with Mineral Point getting the 1 seed, Aquinas being the 2, just because of how much attention Aquinas has gotten in the overall rankings across the state in the coaches and media polls.
I think that can actually help. Like you said, I think it'll really help. But here's where it could hurt too. Let me play devil's advocate for a moment, and that would actually be Aquinas getting all that attention, all of it. Now maybe you get other teams that kind of sneak in there. The bullseye is squarely on Aquinas. However, how much does Aquinas look at this as a slap in the face?
Right.
You have to look at the flip side on this. Great for Mineral Point, great for Lancaster being up where they are. But now do they start looking at, wait a minute, why are we a 2?
Right.
Why didn't we get a 1? So, it's something you don't want to poke the bear sometimes. And that, again, it's all to how you use motivation.
Right, exactly. So, again, Mineral Point gets the 1 seed. Aquinas is the 2. And then let's pull up the bracket again real quick.
Yeah, I think we might be able to talk to a couple of players here on RJ Osterhaus in-house. Any players? Yeah, we can talk to a couple of players. And we've got the reaction show here at Doolittle's in Lancaster, Iowa Grant, and Lancaster here. And I'd like to say thank you again to Doolittle's. They have a $5 cheeseburger going on today. And where can you get $5? Get anything anymore?
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
And there's definitely some room here. A great full house here at Doolittle's in Lancaster. Great idea, I got to say, with this, Tyler and RJ, to really break down, Division 5, Division 4, Division 3, and talk about, our corner of the state that really has seemed to be ignored by major media.
Yeah, and one of the main reasons we do this show is because, obviously the bracket reveals on statewide television. The WIAA has their contract, and they get to unveil the brackets the way that they would like to. But, as you said, our corner of the state, with the amount of sports that we cover at Queen Bee Radio with the teams in the SWAL, the SWC, the Six Rivers, sometimes they don't pronounce the school names correctly, or they don't have the right mascots and things like that. And, it's really cool that we have the opportunity to shine the spotlight literally on our Southwest Wisconsin teams and what the pathway looks like for the postseason. So
let's take a look at that, the one that you had that for Division 4 that we were kind of looking at. Again, all these brackets will be revealed. They're being revealed right now on 27.2. You can be able to watch it live as we are, but also it will be up on the WIAA website, WIAA.wi.org. you'll be able to see all these brackets coming up in just a little bit. So if you want to take a look, and I tell you, Tyler, just seeing that one Division 4, but hey, it looks like we got a couple of players coming in here for Iowa Grant. So let's go ahead and welcome
we
them
have Sam Lindell and Everett Zimmer joining us on our bracket reveal show. And gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Who wants to go first? We got one headset here, so we
have to move you in here just a little bit more. Who do we got?
Sam Lindell.
All right, Sam, thanks for joining us, and congratulations. Team earns a 4 seed in that Division 4 bracket. Talk about the reaction, and was this kind of what you guys were hoping for heading into the bracket reveal today?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of expected it. I mean, we thought we should have been like maybe 3 seed, just strength of schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we kind of knew where we were standing coming into this, and you know, we got to do what we got to do now. Playoff time, everyone's 0-0.
Yep, no doubt about it. Coming into today, a record of 13-9 overall. Your record against teams above 500, 4-9, but defeated all the teams below 500 at a perfect 9-0 mark. Talk about the things that have been going right for Iowa Grant, especially down the home stretch of the season to get ready for the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just building that chemistry. Like everyone on the floor, like knows what we got to do to win. And, I mean, we got all 5 guys on the floor that can shoot it and stuff like that, and I think that kind of separates us. And, yeah, just things like that, just you never know what we're going to do out there.
Yeah, talk about the growth of the program, too. I mean, this has been a program that's kind of been teetering for the last couple of years, but Coach Daly takes over and things really start building. Talk about the things that have been going right for this program over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of, the past few years, like, yeah, last year we had 0 seniors on the roster. So, I mean, and we've all been playing together since we were in 3rd grade. So I think just chemistry and stuff like that. And then Coach Daly comes in and he kind of lets us, like, free range, like knows our skills and stuff like that. So he lets us play to our skills.
I was just about to ask that. What dynamic has Coach Daly brought in that maybe you guys didn't have before to get you to this point?
Yeah, he lets us play fast and lets us shoot. Like he won't get on us for taking shots and stuff like that, taking bad shots. But I mean, if like has the confidence in us to do what we know we can do out there and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what separates him from like past coaches that we've had.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Sam, for joining us. Let's bring in Everett Zimmer of the Iowa Grant Panthers as well. Everett, thank you so much for joining us and being part of the show. And I'll start off with the same question that we asked Sam. Talk about what this accomplishment means to you in the program.
I mean, yeah, the 4 seed, it's a really big deal. Our program, it's been down these past few years, and Coach Daly he's brought the culture to it, and he's done a really good job of bringing this team together and, like, really culture building. So, yeah, this 4 seed, it's a pretty big deal to us, that first round bye, too.
Yep. What's it going to feel like not having to play on a Tuesday of the postseason, and then you get to see who you end up playing on that next Friday night?
Yeah, it's going to be really nice, getting that extra few days of practice to prepare for our upcoming opponents. And, like, these past few years, we've been like that 8-9 seed, and it's just been hard, like going on the road right away after getting a win at home. So it's gonna be different.
Yep. And when Iowa Grant's playing their best basketball, what have been the strengths for the team, especially down this home stretch?
I mean, yeah, we have like Grant Rickard at the end of games. He'll just take over, and it's a really big. It really helps us out a lot. It takes the pressure off like us seniors. And he's really stepped up for us these past few last games. It's been really nice.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for joining us on our bracket reveal show. Good luck to you guys during the postseason. We'll see you down the line.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep, that was Everett Zimmer and Sam Lindell of the Iowa Grant Panthers joining us as they draw the 4 seed in this WIAA postseason bracket reveal. And we have a couple Lancaster Flying Arrows joining us right now, and
since we don't have the roster sheet and jerseys on, who do we got?
Dane Kaufman.
All right, Dane, thanks for joining us, and talk about what the accomplishment means to you guys to draw the 4 seed in a very tough Division 3A bracket.
So the first round against Richland Center, we're 2-0 against them, so that was like an ideal first round kind of draw. And then New Glarus, we avoided like the Platteville, Dodgeville, third conference kind of game in the playoffs, and we get to go. If we get through that, we get to go up to Mineral Point for the 3rd year in a row for a regional final, and that is if Dodgeville doesn't knock them off or someone.
Right.
So looking to get at them again.
Yep, and that could be a potential revenge game. I got to see that game when you guys played the Pointers back in January. Talk about the things that have been going right for Lancaster as of late. Obviously, the season started off really, really strong. The 2025 portion of the calendar undefeated, and then things started not going your guys' way. But talk about battling through that adversity and things that have been going right as of late for the Arrows.
Yeah, so we started off like 8-0, I think, and then we kind of hit like a little rough patch of the season. Played some really good competition. I think 2 or 3 ranked teams, and and we sometimes the ball just didn't bounce our way. We lost a few of those games by like less than 10 points. So against like Southwestern, they just beat Darlington, and we lose to Darlington, and then we get kind of a couple confident boosting games with like Prairie, Wazeeka, and then we're looking to finish off 2-0 and win conference outright Thursday. So that's the goal.
Talk about the conference, being in this SWC that we just saw with Richland Center knocking off Dodgeville. How does that prep you for a run to the Cole Center?
Just every night's a competitive game, to be honest. So, like, it could be obviously the Richland Center, who I think is second to last in the conference. They're going to give you your best game. They're going to play you in a tight game. River Valley, they'll be coming Thursday ready to knock us off with the seeding already in place. They can't win conference. We can win it outright, so they're going to come ready to really knock us off and like make us have a 3-way tie, but I think we'll be ready for them.
Yep, and just talk about the kind of the parity of the conference too, because the first matchup that you guys had with Platteville, you guys dominated them, and then the second matchup, not so much. What are the things that you kind of notice, from game to game when you're playing these conference teams the second time around?
Just how much like they really pay attention to the film. Like everything Platteville did was to like slow down our like offensive inside offensive game, and it's like obviously the film, you don't want to get embarrassed twice in a row, so they came ready to play, and we came in there kind of lazy. We beat them by 30 the first time. They came ready to play, we didn't, and they punched us in the mouth and kept going all game.
So do you think some of that maybe has been a good thing to be able to, nobody ever goes into a game saying, you know what, I can't wait to lose today. I've never met a competitor that says that.
Right.
But maybe having those losses maybe helps to refocus and get them done in the middle of the season where it didn't hurt you for a potential conference championship or for a playoff run where maybe you go in there maybe a little overconfident and then you get punched in the mouth and then the season's over.
Yeah. So we're going to take every game one at a time. Can't look past. We have Richland Center. They're a good team. They got a few really good players. So we just got to – it really helps us to take it one game at a time. We beat Platteville and Dodgeville the first time. Both times they beat us by double digits. So it's like we just got to come ready to play every game no matter what we think the level of the opponent is. Like anything could happen. So
absolutely.
Right. Awesome. Well, congrats on the accomplishments this season. Good luck this week trying to clinch the title outright, and good luck during the postseason.
Thank you.
All right, that's Dane Kaufman of the Lancaster Flying Arrows. Taylor Williams now making his way over to our broadcast booth. Taylor, thanks for hopping on and joining us. Congratulations again on the accomplishments this season and an opportunity to win the conference title outright later on this week. But you see what the postseason path looks like, drawing the number 4 seed. Talk about the initial reactions to having that number 4 seed in a very tough bracket.
Yeah, I feel like we're ready to go for playoff time. Really cool to see. We're in a sectional this year with a lot of conference teams, so a lot of teams we've played before. So, yeah, I think we're ready for them.
Yep. Does that help you guys, having familiar opponents? Is that kind of the things that you're looking for? Because we kind of hear dueling opinions on that. There are some teams that, want to see, different opponents just so that way that familiarity isn't there. But, sometimes that familiarity is an advantage because you've seen this team so many times, not just this season, but over the past couple of years as well.
Yeah, for sure. We would definitely, love to play conference teams again. But seeing new faces is also good. So just kind of keep going down the road and keep playing teams.
You really don't want to fall into that lull of, does it feel like another game where your season is on the line? Once you get here, you're moving on or your season is done. How do you try to package that intensity level so that way you don't use it all at once, but knowing that I'm stepping on the court, if I don't leave it all out on the court here tonight, that it could be done.
Yeah, for sure. Taking one game at a time for sure is a big key for us. Just leaving it all out on the court for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then I asked Dane this earlier. The season for Lancaster started off really strong. You guys looked like world beaters, and then the 2026 portion of the calendar hit, started hitting a few lulls. Had some very quality opponents that you were facing during that stretch as well. What are the things that you've learned during that stretch that is preparing you now for the postseason and potential outright conference title coming up this week?
Yeah, just staying together for sure as a team and keep working every day. We're never going to give up on each other. But yeah, just keep working together.
Yep, and winning a conference title, Coach said this would be the first time in 38 years that's happened. Talk about what it's like being part of that historic trend and that accomplishment.
Yeah, it's crazy. 38 years is a very long time, it feels like. But, I mean, we've played together since, like, second grade, so we know everybody very well. We have 8 seniors this year, so, yeah.
With this group, how special is it to be able to accomplish all this together, knowing that you'll be able to look back at it, regardless of how the season ends, that this was something that was historic and you're able to accomplish together?
Oh, it's very special. I mean, we've all known each other for so long, and 8 seniors, it's been great. It's been great.
I love senior leadership.
Yep, no doubt about it. And then, looking at what the pathway looks like, what are the things that you and your teammates are going to be sharpening up as the postseason looms around the corner?
I think just defensively, watching film, you got to take away usually their best players, and that's how you win the game usually. So, yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for joining us,
Appreciate it.
Taylor. Good luck during the postseason.
Thank you.
All right, Taylor Williams joining us on our bracket reveal reaction show. The Lancaster Flying Arrows drawing a 4 seed in Division 3. And now Zach Hermson making his way over to the booth. And Zach, thanks for joining us. And we asked the other guys the same question, the initial gut reaction to drawing the 4 seed in this very tough bracket.
I'm feeling good about it. Richland Center, we played them 2 times so far this year. Solid times both times. We were close throughout, pulled away at the end. So it'll be a great first round matchup. Second round, looking forward past that. New Glarus, another great team, but we got to focus on River Valley next week first.
So talk about how football has kind of helped out, going into this basketball season, seeing the success you see on the football field. Has any of that carried over into the basketball season where the unity and everybody just wanting to, win together and play for each other?
Yeah, I've never played football myself, but being on the sideline some games in the student section, seeing them all be together as a team, it's helped us come together truly. I'm friends with all the football guys, so I hang around with them outside of football and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, but talk about the makeup of this group. I mean, it feels like that we've been calling your name, Dane's name, and Taylor's name for years and years now. The group and the unity that you guys have and the leadership that you guys bring to this team, because not only do you draw the 4 seed, you also accomplish a conference championship this season as well, the first time in 38 years.
Yeah, it's a tight group. We've been playing together since second grade. So we've been playing together a long time. In high school, we've been playing together outside of practice and that stuff. We've always go to St. Clements and play together all the time. So we really try to stay together as much as possible and just playing together as much as possible to help us.
Yep, and when you look at the season as a whole, playing in the SWC, talk about what playing those conference games has been like, because it kind of feels like from game to game things can definitely fluctuate. Using Platteville as an example, where you guys dominate Platteville the first time, second time not so much. Talk about the parity and the preparation that it takes to play in the SWC and how that's going to prepare you for the postseason.
Yeah, it's a battle every single night. We go against some great coaches that switch up game plans from game to game, so it's really hard to get a really good grips on everything that's going on, but it's a real challenge every single time we play with the physicality, size other schools have, being bigger than us with every school as well. So where they have like 200 more kids, you get a bigger group to pick from. So
the battles that you've gone through this season, you think some of this adversity is going to help you going into this tournament run, so that way you kind of know what to look forward to seeing, where you got a couple of those, I don't want to say bad losses, but maybe the ones where you could look at it and say, oh, we probably shouldn't have lost this game because we would have done this. Do you think getting those out of the way now, when you go into the tournament time, you'll be able to be a little more focused and make a deep run?
Yeah, I'd say for sure. It always helps to lose some of those ones, as much as you always want to win every game, but it helps you to lose a couple so you can look at those and pinpoint some things. I need to do better at this. We need to do better just as a group. Come together with those adversity moments through the season.
Who was your favorite opponent to play this year?
My favorite one? I'd say Mineral Point the first time. That was a great game. And Platteville's always fun to play as well.
Right.
So,
who do you consider to be your biggest rival that you look forward to playing the most?
River Valley. every day of the week.
Yep, and looking at the path, if things play out the way that it should in your favor, assuming that the seeds hold, it would be a rematch with Mineral Points in a potential regional final. We talked about the accomplishments of this team, the individual accomplishments, both you and Taylor getting 1,000 points on your respective careers, and this first conference title in 38 years. What's the end game for Lancaster? What are the things that you're looking to accomplish? It was regional championship, something that was on the radar at the beginning of the season. Was it the full run to the Kohl Center? Talk about what the expectations were and how close you guys are to meeting them.
The expectations are definitely high. We all want to go to the Kohl Center, and something that's never been done here really since I think 1921 was the only time we've ever been at state, which is obviously a long time ago.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple. And a regional final, we haven't won that since 1988 as well, last time we won conference. So it'd be huge to accomplish that, but the main goal is to get back to the Kohl Center.
Yep, no doubt about it. And thanks so much for joining us, Zach. Congrats on all the accomplishments, and good luck to you guys during the postseason.
Thank you.
All right, Zach Hermson with us on our bracket reveal reaction show, the Lancaster Flying Arrows, joining us here at Doolittle's Pub and Eatery in Lancaster. And, like we said, Division III, this bracket really just not what we expected.
We good? Do we want to get any more?
If we have people that want to join us, sure.
If they want to, why not?
Yeah, we're here. We don't have a radio break or anything to
exactly. No,
to buy to.
Well, we kind of do a little bit talk about Doolittle's here in Lancaster, where we're set up. Thanking them for the hospitality. $5 cheeseburgers going on all day today. So that's it's worth going out for that and come in here to an awesome place. This is actually the first time I've been in here. So if that tells you anything personally, it's like, all right, I'm going to want to come back. This is a nice place to come.
Yeah, this is one of the best places to grab a bite to eat in Lancaster. And, I can certainly tell you that the burgers are for sure one of the best things on the menu. And we have another Lancaster Flying Arrow set to join us. All right.
Brody Krubel joining us here. Thank you very much for hopping in. And what does it mean I got to ask this one. So you don't get the bye. Coming up, you get the 4 seed. Do you kind of look at that as a little bit of motivation, saying if we would have done something a little bit earlier, we could have actually had one of those buys? Or are you saying, hey, you know what? Let's hit the ground running and start playing on a week from Tuesday?
I think that not getting a bye first round actually helps us, so we can have a warm-up game when it comes to actual competition for New Glarus or future games. So I think that having first round game against a team that we've played all the time, I think that's going to help us in the long run.
And also home games too, being able to get that. Not many times Lancaster's been a home team, in the playoffs. When you get to the march to the Kohl Center, to be able to get the stands packed. This is kind of your way to sell Lancaster right now. How much fun is it to have a full gym, knowing that your season is on the line and you're just going to lay it out there?
I think it's awesome because we have a great community that comes and supports us every game, and I feel like each game gets bigger and bigger, and all the families come support us. And then now with us making a bigger run in playoffs, I feel like we have more of our community come and support.
Talk about how fun it is being a Lancaster Flying Arrow these days, because it's not just the boys basketball team having success. The girls basketball team got a share of the SWC title. The boys wrestling team also got a share of the title, and a couple state qualifiers for each program as well. Talk about what it's like for this group of athletes here at Lancaster and the bond that you guys have across all sports.
Well, I think our bond's great because I have a lot of friends in wrestling and in the girls basketball team as well. My buddy, we played football together. He's going to state for wrestling, and then my sister's playing on the girls basketball team, and she's a sophomore and won share conference. And I feel like it's a very great accomplishment for our school to have three conference championships in 1 year and still be able to make it to state for wrestling, and girls have a good shot of making it to state for basketball.
Yep, no doubt about it. And talk about the momentum that Lancaster has. Obviously, Coach Nat mentioned that you guys got a bit of help to potentially clinch the title outright this coming week, coming up against River Valley. And, you have at least a share of the conference title, the first conference title in 38 years for Lancaster. Talk about what that accomplishment means to you and your teammates.
Well, it means to me that all the work that we've put in previously has come out to help us, and I feel like that's been all of our goals since we got into high school is win a conference championship. And I know we've been playing together since second grade, and that's been our goal all along is win a conference championship for our school.
With the success this season, what have the hallways been like all year? You know, you successful in the fall, successful in the winter. I bet going to school kind of makes it a little more fun each day because there is a little more success.
Oh, it's been great. I feel like everybody's been upbeat and everybody's just been together trying to hype everybody up and keep everybody to the high standard that we want to hold each other to.
Have you noticed that, you know, even some of the students that you have, that some of your classmates and everybody in school that maybe wouldn't pay attention, you know, because they're off in their group, you know, not everybody's all, you know, sports fanatics. We always like to joke around that we all are, but even those guys and gals, have you noticed them kind of maybe in a better move, a little extra pep in their step because Lancaster getting themselves on the map with success in the fall and in the winter, and now hopefully in the spring too.
Oh, I've definitely seen it. It's just been I feel like everybody's attitude has been upbeat, and we've just been moving like as a great community. And I've seen a lot more of those students at the games in our student section, and just supporting everybody and everywhere.
Are they pretty loud? Would you say they're loud, or would you like to see more of the guys and gals getting into the student section, just make it really annoying for a visiting team?
I feel like they're loud, but I feel like we can definitely make it better.
There you go. You get some kind of theme nights. You know, is it the team that kind of figures out who's going to be doing stuff for the theme nights, or is that somebody else that's kind of lining that up?
That's somebody else. I think they're seniors, and they just kind of put a vote out on what we want, and we just try to everybody match it. And
you have to get a jersey night. I think I'm guessing they already had jersey night with that.
Yeah.
I just saw one that was pretty neat. Was USA night. Actually, I saw that on
Yeah.
Friday.
Mhm.
You know, they had the American flag in there, and you know, I had sections with red, white. You know, I mean, hey, there you go. Maybe get one of those for your home game. You're gonna sit in this row. It's gonna be red. This row it's gonna be white. Get some with the blue, and hey, you never know.
I think that'd be really cool. It'd be show our great bond with our whole school, just be able to collectively do that.
Right. You know, of course, get more gold in there too. You gotta get the blue and gold. You know, can't forget that. But you know,
was there a particular theme night that you thought was, you know, maybe funnier or maybe a little more effective than some of the others?
I think it probably Jersey night for us because we all were able to show our respective sports, like some like football better or some like hockey or just basketball, because everybody was able to show what they like to do, and I thought that brought out the energy for everybody.
Yep, awesome. And then looking ahead, you got Richland Center coming up in the first round of the postseason, but obviously some work to do to clinch the title outright. What are the things that Coach Knapp's been emphasizing with you and your team heading down the home stretch of the season with the postseason coming up?
Definitely defense. That's something we've tried to improve all season, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job at it, but that's still something we have to improve on in every game. I feel like also playing as a team is a very important factor for us, and I hope that we're able to work very hard in practice and be able to show what we can do on the defensive side, not only the offense.
All right, awesome. Well, congrats on all the accomplishments this season. Good luck this week trying to clinch the title outright, and good luck during the postseason.
Thank you.
All right, that's Brody Krubel, kind enough to join us on our bracket reveal show here at Doolittle's Pub and Eatery on the Square in Lancaster. The $5 burgers going on here today, and let's do kind of a brief recap, John, of the brackets. Let's go back to...
For maybe people that are just joining us and wondering, what we're doing. He's Tyler Dictanis. I'm John Satterley. RJ Osterhaus, our sports director. He's been making sure we get everybody to talk to and makes everything go a lot smoother.
Yep, and making us look really, really bright on
camera
as well.
Definitely making sure, this should be bright enough right here without having a hat on, That should be able to illuminate this entire place.
Yep. Let's go to Division 5 as the brackets were revealed 5 through 1 during the bracket reveal show. Division 5 Sectional 3B, North Crawford gets the number 1 seed. They host 16-seeded Weston. The 8-seed Seneca taking on 9-seeded Ithaca, so Ridge and Valley teams in the upper left quadrant of the bracket. In the bottom half, it's River Ridge hosting 12-seeded Lafarge Youth Initiative and Belmont taking on 6 Rivers West rival Highland. Other side of the bracket, Southwestern is a 3-seed taking on the number 14 seed Riverdale, number 6 seed DeSoto, number 11 Benton, and then basketball, the 10 seed travels to Potosi to take on the co-op of Potosi-Cassville, and we round out the Division 5 3A bracket with number 2 seeded Kickapoo hosting number 15 seeded Wazika Steuben, and as we kind of alluded to, John, not a lot of surprises as far as the seedings and things like that there. The upper left quadrant, a bunch of Ridge and Valley teams kind of grouped together. The bottom half of the bracket there, you got 3 Six Rivers West teams. Upper right, you have the Swall with Southwestern and Riverdale. Also, Benton from the Six Rivers West and DeSoto out of the Ridge and Valley. And then the lower right quadrant, kind of a mix of some Swall, some Six Rivers West, Ridge and Valley teams mixed there. Again, not a lot of surprises, I think, as far as seedings, but the matchups, I think, certainly justifiable. And, whoever survives that half sectional, I mean, that is a heck of an accomplishment.
Brackets are up right now, actually, on WIAA, WI.org. That's what I was just kind of looking down and trying to pull up. So they actually have lower left-hand portion if you're looking at the sectional 3. And any surprises here, sectional 3? So we got North Crawford, the number 1. If you go by chalk, you got North Crawford versus Seneca. Would be on a Friday, potentially. River Ridge being a 5, they could be facing conference foe Belmont. And I think, didn't they just have
They just won at Belmont.
Well, they're just a big game, just recent. And then you throw in Highland. You cannot throw Highland out, because I just saw them against Blackhawk here about a little over a week ago. That could be the 13th seed and a conference opponent. That could be one of those upsets in the making.
Yeah.
And that's taking nothing away from Belmont. It's just you can't always say the higher seed is going to win. That's why you have to play the games.
And that speaks to the familiarity of the teams and the players in the conference, because it's not always just, basketball. It's across all sports that these guys have been going against each other for years and years, and they know their strengths and weaknesses and everything there. So very intriguing matchups in Division 5, Sectional 3B.
And I think Southwestern, they're a 3 seed. Number 2 seed is Kickapoo. Southwestern, I'd have to say, is probably my favorite on the whole left side, and that even includes Royal being a number 1 in the upper left-hand corner. That would, again, Hillsboro's a number 2 for a sectional championship. I would not be surprised to see the Southwestern Wildcats as a 3 seed make it to the Kohl Center. That's kind of my pick to click.
Right.
That's not your chalk making it all the way, but the first round Riverdale, second round be DeSoto or Benton. I like Southwestern of those. Then you have Potosi, Cassville, Basketball, Wazika, Steuben, Kickapoo, who would be a regional championship. Any of those 4, I'm seeing a path for Southwestern. I really am.
Yeah. The path looks certainly favorable. The only thing is, again, you have Kickapoo and North Crawford to deal with, and normally, we've seen it historically that the Six Rivers teams tend to dominate the Ridge and Valley teams, but Kickapoo and North Crawford, they are for sure the cream of the crop in D5.
And then you look at, so they're on the sectional 3, then you have sectional 4. They would meet at state, but you could also have a Six Rivers East team making it to state. Again, they reseed, I know, when they get to Kohl Center, but you could see a Barneveld that could make it to a sectional championship and out. You could see a team local, 2 teams local could make it to the state, make it to the Kohl Center, and it's not a far-fetched stretch to actually see that happen. But, Oakfield's going to have a lot to say about that. They're a 1 seed. Some of the private schools that are going to be bunched in from southeast Wisconsin, they're going to want to say, no, it's going to be a very interesting ride in Division 5.
Yep, no doubt about it. So let's go to Division 4, where Darlington drew the number 1 seed in Sectional 3A. Darlington will take on the winner of Broadhead and Belleville. Broadhead, the 9 seed, Belleville, the 8 seed. Iowa Grant getting a 4 seed, awaiting the winner of Cuba City and Prairie du Chien. How huge is it for Iowa Grant to have a home game for a regional semifinal?
And absolutely. And you look at a team like Cuba City. I've been honored to be able to cover them a lot this season. And Cuba City is got to be one of the biggest wild cards of the entire tournament, all divisions, because I saw them against Lancaster down by 20, coming back to beat them. So they were able to do that. Also seeing Basketball defeat Cuba City, for only the second time since 1967, I think is what I saw.
Yeah.
So again, they've won the games that maybe they shouldn't have, and they've lost some games that maybe they shouldn't have. Which Cuba team is
going to show up?
Yeah, which Cuba City team is going to be showing up, and them being a 5 shows a lot of I don't know if you want to say belief, but it shows a lot in their potential and their strength of schedule. Their schedule in their defense has been brutal.
Yeah, and the wins for Cuba City, they have been huge wins
Right.
against quality teams like Lancaster.
Mhm.
So very, very interesting how Cuba City lines up.
Yeah, then you got Cuba City, Iowa Grant. That's the logical second round regional semifinal. Broadhead, they've struggled this year. Tommy Meyer, their head coach, former Blackhawk graduate. He's been trying to build a program there in Broadhead. So you would like Darlington coming out of that. So it could be a Darlington Iowa Grant regional championship.
Yeah.
And again, could be Cuba City too. I'm not throwing that out.
Right.
Not saying it couldn't, but that again, you're looking at somebody from the SWAL conference making it to a sectional semifinal. The SWAL is tough.
Yeah.
They're just brutal. That's why I like Southwestern in Division 5. They got to escape this madness. And guess what? So did Mineral Point. We'll talk about them in a moment in Division 3.
Yep. Other side of the bracket, Parkview's a 3 seed. They take on the winner of Deerfield and Wisconsin Heights. Deerfield, the 6 seed, Wisconsin Heights, the 11 seed, and then number 2 seed at Cambridge awaiting the winner of Fenimore and the Lincoln Academy. And, a couple local teams featured on that part of the bracket, too. Of the local teams on that side of the bracket, obviously Fenimore is the one that that stands out, and Fenimore again, kind of one of those teams like Cuba City. When they're on, they can compete with pretty much anyone. But if you're not on, you have to be on when you have teams like Cambridge and Parkview on that side of the bracket.
No, absolutely. And again, I said it from the outset of our broadcast was those are going to be their question marks. We know the SWAL, we know the SWC, we know the Six Rivers. We don't know the Rock Valley very well. We don't know the Trailways very well. And those are conferences, are they as deep as the conferences we're familiar with? That's what's the beauty about the bracket, because we'll see those different styles match up, and you never know what can happen here in the frenzy of February into the madness of March.
Yep, no doubt about it. So let's go to Division 3, where, again, this was kind of the surprise as far as the bracket reveals go today. Division 3, Sectional 3A, Mineral Point gets the 1 seed over number 2 seeded Aquinas. Mauston is the 3, and Lancaster gets the 4. But because Mineral Point is up a division because of the performance factor, having been to state the last 2 years, it throws an odd number of teams into the bracket. So now Lancaster, the 4 seed, they don't get a bye. They take on Richland Center at home, the 13 seed, to open up the postseason play coming up a week from Tuesday. The other matchups, Mineral Point will take on the winner of number 9 seeded Westby and number 8 seed Dodgeville. So potential neighborly rivalry if Dodgeville able to get the win on Tuesday over Westby. And then New Glarus, the 5 seed, hosting number 12 seeded Viroqua, and as we said, 13 seeded Richland Center taking on Lancaster. So a lot of familiar local teams in that part of the bracket. The other side, Mauston, the 3 seed, awaiting the winner of number 11 seeded River Valley and 6 seeded Platteville, and then number 7 seed Lodi taking on 10 seeded Wisconsin Dells. The winner of that takes on the 2 seed Aquinas. And as we were talking about before, I can't remember if it was before the stream went down or not, but it was a bit of a shock to me that with all the attention that Aquinas has been getting all season long, that they were not the 1 seed in this bracket. But then when you look at the breakdown as far as the strength of schedule and things like that, Mineral Point 11-4 against teams above 500, and Aquinas is 8-4.
I think that might be your difference. You start going down the line of tiebreakers, looking at that, and plus the success factor. If they're already being bumped up, how's the computer already looking at them? So there's already stuff already embedded in the computer that says this team is good. Before you even start getting to strength of schedule, point differential, all the technical jargon for us stat geeks. We start looking into that. Dodgeville, they're a team that you can see Mineral Point versus Dodgeville, a high rivalry with the season on the line. I don't think that has ever happened before.
Yeah. In the postseason,
In the postseason, that Dodgeville, Mineral Point, yes, first game of the year, usually they're playing. But maybe for the first time ever, I'd have to do some digging. I know you'll do some digging as well. Mineral Point, Dodgeville, season on the line. If it hasn't happened before, it is a big rarity, and I think that will be Mineral Point might be the fullest it's been in a long time.
McGraw versus McGraw, that's another storyline to keep tabs on, and like I said, I thought everything else kind of held serve as far as what we expected to see with the bracket reveal
no
today.
shocks
but-
like football.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no shocks like football where your jaw drops. Go, how did that happen?
Yeah, right.
You know, like when it first came out with the Potosi Castle versus Blackhawk Warren. How
Yeah.
did that happen? 3 versus 6 when they were top 3 in state.
Mhm.
You know, at least we haven't had those surprises. I think they're figuring out the glitches with the computer and human element to get the right matchups.
Mhm.
And what makes sense, maybe a little bit wiggle room here and there. You know, would Dodgeville deserve to be home against Westby? You know, that 8-9 matchup. Those are ones you can question, but it's not major.
Right. Yeah, you're splitting hairs at that point.
Absolutely.
And you know, especially if they were in the same conference, maybe you have a different discussion because
Correct.
you have head-to-head matchups to go based off of that. But when you're talking about non-conference opponents, it's so hard to kind of compare resumes because the
Right.
resumes are not the same.
No.
Not anyway.
Yeah, resumes are not the same. You know, no two teamers built the same. That's why we love these matchups, because you could get a team like a Cuba City could make it to a regional championship or a sectional semifinal where their record says, their matchups favor them. You know, that's
Right.
where I'm just using Cuba City as an example. That could be Dodgeville. You know, Dodgeville with matchups could slip by Mineral Point because of a matchup, and it looks like a major upset because on everything says one thing on paper. But once you actually get the matchups, it was a horrible matchup, and they move on. Yeah, just because that portion of the bracket is pulled up is the only reason I'm bringing those teams
Right,
up.
exactly.
I'm not saying that, you know, this is going to happen or that's my prediction. It's just because those teams are the ones that are right in front of my face.
Right. Yep. No doubt about it. So yeah, overall, like I said, I think everything kind of went the way that we anticipated, with the exception of Sectional 3A. But it does help us with our local teams in particular, especially
Right.
Mineral Point getting that 1 seed, a great accomplishment for the Pointers. And the postseason is officially on, John. And when you take a look at the brackets, what's the one storyline that kind of sticks out to you the most?
Oh, one storyline that puts out. I think Mineral Point has to be one because of being in Division 3. How they escaped Darlington. You know, does that help them because they won't have to face a conference foe and face a lot of teams that they're not familiar with? Does that help them or does that hurt them?
Right.
I think the same thing could be said too. You know, then Darlington. You know, a lot of expectations there. We just saw them have. You know, I don't want to say a mental breakdown, but they kind of laid an egg against. You know, against Southwestern. Take nothing away from Southwestern. They're a fabulous team. I'll get to them in just a moment. But Darlington might have gotten that loss out of the way. That bad loss where, oh, hey, you know, we can just cruise. We're up by 15. We can win. And then they don't. That might have been the wake-up call that the rest of the state is going, oh, great, thanks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or maybe they might have had one of those in a regional championship and somebody else could move on to the Kohl Center. Maybe that's the one loss that the rest of the state is going to regret happening.
Right. Yep. No doubt about it. And I think the thing for me, I look at Division 5 where, you know, again, that Sectional 3B is, by our accounts in Southwest Wisconsin, the group of death, if you wanted to call it that, because of just how stacked you know that group is. I mean, Kickapoo, Belmont, North Crawford, Southwestern, DeSoto, Potosi, Cassville, River Ridge. Any one of those teams, you know, River Ridge is hot right now.
Absolutely.
They've gone on a tear. They've beaten Belmont. They've beaten Potosi, Cassville, and you know Belmont or Potosi, Cassville will go for the conference title on Thursday.
That was an overtime game, if I remember correctly, right?
Both regular season games went to overtime between River Ridge and Potosi, Cassville.
They face again in the round. I'm going to make a hot take prediction. They'll go 2 overtimes. They face each other. It'll be a double overtime game. That is going to be your appointment radio or appointment viewing here on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel, because you know we're going to be covering that one, and that is one that you're going to not want to miss.
Yep, and the broadcaster better have the tee on hand, ready to get the vocal cords all set up for that matchup. But yeah, the other thing is I go back to this. I remember last year in the Six Rivers West, River Ridge, Potosi, and Highland all shared the conference title. None of them walked away with a regional championship.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and that speaks to the depth of, you know, the Ridge and Valley and how good, you know, teams like Kickapoo and North Crawford are, because North Crawford eliminated both River Ridge and Potosi last season. And now Potosi obviously co-oping with Cassville, getting some additional talent there. So that kind of bolsters them heading down the home stretch of the season. And, you know, very, very intrigued by Division 5, because there are a number of different outcomes that could happen, and I
Right.
would not be surprised by any one of them whatsoever.
Absolutely. Then when you look at the sectional number 4, too, Barneveld getting a number 2 seed. They're going to be facing Blackhawk. Their path, if you look at them, they could face Fall River. Fall River's always been a thorn in the Six Rivers East side. I don't know how many times I've had to go over there. They have an amazing pep band. I will tell you that. If you've ever seen the Fall River pep band, that is, that's the only thing I think anybody likes about Fall River around this area. Just kind of going on that one. But Barneveld could have that. They would be facing St. Ambrose. Got a couple of one private school in that section. Abundant Life Christian, they're the number 1 seed. What do we know about them? We really don't. Those are some big question marks. They got to be good if they're number 1 seed. We know what we're expecting from Barneveld. Shullsburg, they're an 8 seed. They're another one of those wild cards. Are they going to play up to their potential, or do they have one of those games where you kind of scratch your head? Looking at that, Pecatonica too. I mean, you could be looking at let me see if I'm looking at this correctly. It could be Pecatonica versus Barneveld for a sectional semifinal.
Wow.
That's a battle for County K, and that would not surprise me. That's a 2 and a 4. So again, you've got some of those higher seeds. They could be playing against each other, and those games in the past have been just absolutely great matchups. When Barneveld won state 2017, when they won it all, it was by 1 point, and Middleton was packed. Being there to broadcast that, so it's again. You don't want to forget about those teams there. And to the rest of the state, too. It's going to be fun to see who comes out of each region once you start getting to the sectional finals. Start seeing the pathway at the Cole Center, who's going to bring home the gold trophy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, the postseason march is on, and we are going to have a tough time trying to figure out what games we're going to end up covering on our Queen Bee Radio family of stations. RJ Osterhaus is going to saw that too.
I don't envy RJ having to pick, saying we're going to do this one, we're going to do this one. Oh boy, we don't have enough stations to do this one.
Right.
It's not for a lack of wanting to. It's just being able to juggle all of it because there are so many great matchups, and we just can't clone ourselves to be at every one of them.
Well, on top of the fact is, when we get to the regional semis and the regional finals, we may think what's going to happen one night, and then someone gets an upset, and then throws a complete wrench in everything that we hope to see. So
audible.
Yep.
All of a sudden we're gonna hear RJ in the back, Omaha. Starts out like Peyton Manning calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. But we're making sure we're covering everything. It's gonna be fun this year for me to be a part of the Queen Bee Radio family, to see these matchups and be able to bring them to you, whether you're on your mobile device, whether you're at home on your laptop watching the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel, whether you're in your vehicle driving and you're not able to make it to the game. It's going to be so much fun to bring these games to you that you'll be able to enjoy all of this with Tyler, with RJ, with Presto. We've got Rob Spangler. We've got such a great team that is going to be able to bring all these games to you coming up over the next couple of weeks. This is the madness of March, but we first have to get through the frenzy of February.
Yep, and the frenzy of February begins Tuesday night with girls basketball, and we're finalizing our coverage map for that. You can see the full Queen Bee Radio sports schedule at AM1590WPVL.com, not just on the Wisconsin side, but IHSA postseason as well. You got to see Galena get that win on Friday night, I think it was.
Yeah, they had 2 upsets. They had 2 upsets ago. They beat East Dubuque, that had won the conference championship and the NUIC West. Galena got by them. Galena got by River Ridge Scales Mound. When I brought up the illness, River Ridge Scales Mound, they had a couple of girls that literally, it would have been like the Michael Jordan flu game. How sick they were. That's why I brought that up, because I had just witnessed it. And because you have Galena, they're now 18-16. So they went into a regional championship game as a 500 team.
Right.
And why is that? They had one of their best players, Leah Heller, coming back from injury, and it took her about 10 and 11 games, for her own words, to get back used to her leg, to working correctly after tearing a lot in her ankle, actually, is what it was. And now she's up there. That's what can happen. Some of these teams, they're a lower seed, a 6th seed. You can't rule them out, because what else has happened that we haven't covered?
Right.
Who was injured? Who missed significant time? Who's just getting healthy? Those are wild cards that looking at a bracket or looking at Bound Wisconsin, great website. Let me make sure I say that. Thank you to Travis Wilson, Colton Wilson, everybody at boundwisconsin.com to get us all the stats. But you can't look at just stats and say you know that team because you don't know what's happened behind the scenes, that you could get that 6th seed making it to state.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like I said, the postseason march is on. It starts Tuesday night with girls regional quarterfinal action. We'll have a full slate on our Queen Bee Radio family of stations. RJ Osterhaus finalizing the schedule and the roadmap. Again, you can see the full schedule at AM1590WPVL.com. John, this was great to work with you again for our bracket reveal show. These are definitely fun. We got to keep doing these, especially when football season comes around as well. And thanks to Doolittle's Pub and Eatery for being gracious hosts and helping us here today. Thanks to Iowa Grant and Lancaster for coming on site to be part of this program and this show, and being able to talk to both the coaches and all the athletes that are going to be beginning their postseason journey coming up in about a week and a half or so. Thanks to all of our sponsors up at Spring High School Sports Team, and thank you for listening and watching along. This has been our bracket reveal reaction show on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. For John Satterley, I'm Tyler Dictanis. Thanks so much for joining us. Step on down to Doolittle's Pub and Eatery today for $5 burgers and a beverage or two.
Of your choosing.
Yeah.
They have all varieties.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt about it. For John, I'm Tyler. Thanks so much for joining us. Good luck to the teams during the postseason, and we'll see you for girls basketball coming up on Tuesday night.